ancestral food to me has so many different layers, but yet it's so simple and so profound at the same time. It's the ancestral food begins with working and acknowledging your relationship with fire and wind and earth and water and time. Time is very important because time speaks to our inability to slow down and our inability to cook. What we do is we cook from cans and from plastic, and we punch a button in our microonde, in our microwave, and automatically. And so we have no relationship with food. Time is very important in cooking, no? And working in the industry, we're also pushed for time. We work in an industry that is like, it should take you 3 minutes to do that task. When that ticket comes in, you got 7 minutes to push it out. And you're working on 5, 6, 7 tickets at a time. And no client should be waiting more than 7 minutes. And that's even an extreme. It's more like 4 minutes, 5 minutes at the most. So time. We're constantly rushed to prepare our food, no? And what respect is that to the food that we're preparing, to the people that we're nourishing? So when I think about ancestral food, I think about our relationship with the elements. I think about our respect in the preparation of the food. And I also think about, who we're feeding and why we're feeding. What energy as a cook, what energy am I putting into this food for this particular meal or for this particular gathering? Indigenous food, reclaiming our ancestral food. The maize, the corn, the bean, the squash, the chile, the amaranto, the nopal. All of these are our ancestral foods. And now at this point in my career, if I'm asked to cook and to create a menu, it's from this canasta, from this ancestral basket of foods that I choose to cook from. And of course, constantly listening to our elders and listening to the señoras in the barrios, listening to the abuelas in the barrios, and listening to to that ancestral voice within us, no? That is our tatabuela, that is our great-great-grandmother speaking to us about how to prepare food and what to do. And it's interesting because I think that we all have that voice. Sometimes I'm in the kitchen and I don't know what to do. And is it my experience as a cook, or is it that voice that tells me what to do? To me, that's ancestral cooking, and that's connecting me to my ancestral foods and ancestral techniques of cooking. The techniques that I use a lot is the molcajete. I can make a pudding, and I can make a salsa in a molcajete, no? And because it's about technique, no? So the comal, the parrilla, the comal is I forget what it's called in English. But anyway, the comal, where we make our tortillas, where we heat up our food, no? Also the parrilla, what we use to grill on, no? Because all of these, what we do is we char, we burn, we smother, we do all of these things with fire. And so these are our tools that we use, no? Just direct fire. A lot of times direct fire is what we need to bring out those flavors that we are so accustomed to, no? Or that we find joy in, no? A lot of outside cooking as well. If I can cook on an outside fire, that food is going to be tremendous, because it's like all of the elements are involved. There's no way it's not going to be tremendous. And so I began just giving small presentations around a concept that another professor formulated, which was the Siete Guerreros. And so the 7 indigenous foods that we continue to eat today, but that have sustained our people for thousands and thousands of years. The corn, the frijol, the calabaza, the squash, the amaranto, the chile, the maguey, and the nopal. Those are the foods that have nourished our people and that we continue to use. So from that point, I was able to create menus and to go out and talk to community. However, it's always been grassroots community. It's my vecinos who I see in the stores with their shopping carts full of plastic and full of a food model that has been proven that kills our people. The United States of America and the Western world will go down in history as perhaps the only time in history that they have developed a nutritional model that kills their people and that takes them away from the earth. And so as I saw this in my community for many, many years, it would just, I thought, well, you know what? I'm just going to go ask if I could do a plática at this community center. Or I was asked by a mujer obrera, and that really got me going and doing presentations here on the frontera. And so it developed. First, they wanted to know about nutrition. Well, I'm not a nutritionist, but I'm a cocinero. So I can talk about the foods, and I can show you how to cook them, and we can make some samples, and we can enjoy them, and we can talk about your abuela's recetas, we can talk about your mother's recetas, we can talk about what you remember about these foods. What does it feel like to you when you make the enchiladas? What about, do you have time to make frijol? Do you know how to make frijol? Are you teaching your children how to, spend time with food and cooking? So these were the questions that I would throw out there, and that brought all of these responses around nutrition and around food, and then it led to gardens, no? And reclaiming our gardens, reclaiming our foods as we started to embrace our community gardens more. That became a part of the conversation. So Project Chicomecoa continues to evolve as the community evolves. As if they ask me to go someplace and do a presentation, I will bring the Siete Guerreros, and we work together, the Siete Guerreros and myself, to educate the community and on these foods and try to make some kind of connection, no? And it's different groups. Sometimes it's around the garden. Sometimes it's in a school. Sometimes it's at UTEP. Sometimes it's for groups that are dealing with specific kind of health issues. I go wherever I'm invited.